Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the 808 podcast where I interview business owners, CEOs, whoever else I feel like. 4 questions, 8 minutes and 8 seconds, because 808 looks like Bob, and here we go. Question number 1, in a few sentences, tell us who you are and what do you do?
Hi, I'm Pete Scahill. I am CEO and president of Bay State Strategic Solutions, your on-hire contract COO.
Boom, right into the point. Love it. Question number 2, Pete. What advice do you want to share? Go.
So, biggest problem that we've always faced is a problem is a symptom, is just a symptom of a bigger issue. So what you feel and what you see is just this tip of the iceberg. And what you really need to have is a fresh set of eyes coming in, pulling all that apart and bringing it back together in a more efficient and effective way, utilizing various methodologies that I've learned over 25 years.
So what are some of those methodologies?
So Six Sigma, Lean, Kaizen, Agile, Gemba. I could go on for many, many months. But most effective is usually the Kaizen and continuous improvement. Process improvement is using some Six Sigma and some Agile, and using Gemba if you're teaching leaders how to be leaders.
All right. So what are some of the symptoms? Because I know you're saying once you have symptoms, you should go hire someone to check them out. So I have a business. I'm starting out, been in business maybe 6 months to a year. What are some symptoms that I would be seeing that I say, maybe I should go to a doctor or talk to a consultant?
Right. Your top talent's leaving for your competition. That's a phenomenal symptom. Your service scores are going down, but you're doing the same service. You answer the question, why are you doing it this way, with we've always done it this way.
Yeah, that works there. Now, on the flip side, though, is we always done it this way and it's still being successful could still be a good thing.
Yeah.
Did I lose you there?
No, I'm here.
Okay, that part there. Perfect. Hey, let's get to question number 3. What other top CEOs, business owners, influencers that you know that are successful just like you that you would like to give a shout out to?
Stephanie Rulick of Startup Week Boston, Jessica Sweet of Wishing Well Coaching, Letha Ritchie of LPR Consulting.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that. But question number 4 is the final fun question, Pete. Tell me about your first sale.
My first sale was almost unintentional. I was brought in by a marketing agency, and they had to do a full transformation, organizational, cultural transformation, digital transformation. And the idea was to save $22 million and offshore 3/4 of the staff and let go of the staff. So I made my pitch to them saying we could do it this way, the way that you want to do it, or we could do it in a hybrid way. And when I got them to see that we could almost chase the sun and have a longer project cycle time, they were hooked. And I said, you could charge your clients a 20% premium to get their projects quicker. And they were hooked. They hooked me in. I didn't have to fire as many people, and created that 24-hour cycle time.
Which is firing less people is usually a good thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that part there. So hey, you've got 4 minutes and 22 seconds left. So we can do some promo time. You can ask me a question. You can talk about all the golf balls behind you. At least they look like golf balls from here. Or since the best know when to be concise and when to end early, we end early. Go for it.
So where do you live, Bob?
I'm in Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Beautiful. With your background, it doesn't exactly look like Colorado Springs.
No, it doesn't look like it there. And actually, funny thing is, everyone thinks that Colorado Springs is snowy all the time. We get about 2 months of snow a year, but it's barf a couple of days, then it's sunny. Like you get this massive barf, and then it's like next day is clean.
Oh yeah, I've been to Colorado Springs. It's a beautiful place.
It is. I'm actually planning next year, once the pandemic is over, to get basically do the van life thing, because I realize internet's good enough now that I can do these wherever there's decent internet.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's a great movie, Nomadland. Have you seen it?
I haven't, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's all about the van life.
Yeah, I've been
And
doing a lot of YouTube videos, so that's been where I've been doing a lot of it, looking
yeah.
at ideas and everything.
What about the van life kind of sparks your interest?
I have a job where I realize I'm really not tied to this office, so then I can go wherever the bleep I want.
That's wonderful.
And I say bleep because we're a PG-13 podcast.
I get it. And what's one place that you want to go?
Vegas.
Vegas.
Yep.
That's
I
a
love
good.
poker there. I don't want to live in Vegas forever, but the idea of having a van, doing work, and doing poker at night would just be fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I spent many months out in Vegas when I worked for a trade show company.
Yep. Plus, then I can go to Burning Man very easy.
Well, yeah, that's right down the road.
Yeah, right. A couple hours away. I was actually there back in 2008.
What's that like?
Very eye-opening to all these different cultures. So, idea being is most of in society, we usually surround ourselves with the same type of culture. And I'm not saying that as a good, bad, right, or wrong thing. That just it is.
Right.
You go to Burning Man, it forces you to basically be this huge mixture of all these different cultures.
That's so cool. I mean, I've never been, but
Right.
I've seen videos, I've seen people, and I've just never talked to anybody who's actually been.
Yeah. Okay. I'll tell you my personal favorite story is we decided to leave early. And so we give all our alcohol to our neighbors.
Yeah.
And then from there, he's this guy, and Mary, he's dressed like he's a tweaker, because it's Burning Man. And he says, okay, you're going to hit Reno, go to this casino at this time, do these slot machines. Yeah, dude, whatever, kind of that part there. He goes over like this. I'm the slots boss. Okay, we got to at least try this, just for the heck of it. Whatever there. So we knew where the machines were. I put $200 in, made $2,000.
Wow. That's good.
I was like, all right, there we go.
That's a very good return on investment.
That is. So, hey, Pete, you got 1 minute, 20 seconds left. Do you want some promo time or we can end early?
Sure. Promo time. If you have a problem, if you see a problem, if you're thinking that there might be a problem arising, Bay State Strategic Solutions can help you solve those issues. And I work directly with you to make sure that those solutions are sustainable for forever, for as long as your business runs, as long as you want to run your business.
Perfect. You pulled it off there. 4 questions in 8 minutes and 8 seconds. Pete, why is it 8 minutes and 8 seconds?
Because it looks like Bob, and Bob Clark is a great host.
That is, both those things are true. Your website, say it real quick.
Bay State Strategic Solutions.com. Sorry.
No, it's baystatestrategic.com, and it's in the description. It's magic. Pete, thank you so much for being on. Tip of the hat to you. And for everyone else watching or listening, I am legally required to tell you to like, share, comment, subscribe, thumbs up, ring the bell, whatever the heck the social media network tells you to do. You all have a wonderful day. Now, I'll talk to you later. Bye.